Boys and girls, Star Wars is saved, ladies and gentlemen, because the lady who was responsible for the absolute disastrous dumpster fire that was Wonder Woman 1984 and the absolute abysmal failure that was, is back at it again over there at Disney Star Wars. And yes, because Patty Jenkins is now supposedly coming back and returning to Star Wars and bringing back her Rogue Squadron project that had been promised years and years and years ago and was actually supposed to involve Gina Carano as well, who, as we are very well aware of, is no longer with the Walt Disney Company, but is currently suing them along with Elon Musk, and we can't wait to see what that happens. So, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, another disastrous dumpster fire of a choice that the Lucasfilm, under its Disney ownership, has made once again is bringing back another failed director, another failed writer to come in and bring back and save Star Wars. And boy, isn't it going to work out so well? Yeah, no. Not so much. Patty Jenkins, after the disastrous dumpster fire that was Wonder Woman 1984, should never work again in Hollywood, at least not on any kind of major blockbuster thing. And considering how much money we know they spend over at Lucasfilm on a lot of these series, it looks like Disney is just down to burn more money all over again. And guess what? I'm here for it, because the faster Disney burns down to the ground and spends all of this money out into oblivion is the faster they have to start selling off assets, and somebody that might actually somebody might actually appreciate these IPs might be able to own them again and actually produce good quality content. Probably not going to happen anytime soon, but hey, here's to hoping and keeping hope alive. So from bounding into comics, Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins confirms return to Star Wars, says she's back on doing Rogue Squadron. Yay. And if you want to see us live, boys and girls, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. exclusively over on Rumble, come look up the Common Nerd over there on Rumble, and you can find us at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time at Monday through Friday going over all of the daily pop culture news and the stuff that doesn't always make it into videos, but you might still be interested in. So definitely come check us out over there on Rumble. Alrighty, shout out to Spencer. I love Spencer. And providing further proof to the theory that Disney's cinematic production efforts are in complete shambles across the board, Wonder Woman duology director Patty Jenkins has revealed that her previously canceled Star Wars Rogue Squadron film is officially back in development. Now, you might say out there, Common Nerd, the first Wonder Woman movie was great. She was the one that directed that. Yes, but one of the things you have to remember, boys and girls, is that script was completely and totally written for her by one of Zack Snyder's people, and she had a crap ton of Zack Snyder's own employees and people that had worked with him on the previous movies completely and totally surrounding her. Trust me, Patty Jenkins might have technically directed it, but that was a Zack Snyder Wonder Woman movie. And all you have to do is look at the proof of when she was left completely on her own of 1984 to see exactly how true that really is. Jenkins, who previously grounded her aerial space adventure in favor of working on a third Wonder Woman film, which never panned out, I wonder why, confirmed her return to Disney's Galaxy Far, Far Away while making a guest appearance on the 9th episode of Max's Talking Pictures podcast. Eventually broaching the topic of her future career plans, Jenkins was asked by host Ben Makiewicz, do you see yourself making these, grown-up serious movies like Monster, her 2003 biographical film about serial killer Alan Wuornos, which I saw and I actually thought was really good. So she hasn't done completely disastrous things all of the time, but I just don't think she has this kind of genre behind her. And I don't know where you are on the Star Wars thing either. That's hard to follow too. Do you have a franchise in your future? The director affirmed, I don't know the answer to that question. Well, now, wait a minute. If she doesn't have an answer to that question, why is she back to writing for Star Wars? I'm always like, I hate it when they do that. I'm always sort of outside of myself, watching myself at the same time, where I'm like, wow, I guess you're going to do this. I never thought I would find a home in tentpole films. Like, that's not a thing thought I would do. Probably something you shouldn't do either. Go back to making movies like Monster. You did a good job on that one. However, despite her feigned ignorance to her future projects, Jenkins then recalled, when I left Star Wars to do Wonder Woman 3, and I went and I started working on that, we talked about, okay, well, maybe I'll come back to Star Wars after Wonder Woman 3. It was then that Jenkins revealed that thanks to her schedule freeing up, courtesy of James Gunn and Peter Safran, canning Wonder Woman 3, for all the things you can say about them, at least they did that. And she now found herself back in the pilot seat for Rogue Squadron. Oh, joy. So we did a deal for that to happen. We started a deal, but I thought I was doing Wonder Woman 3. So when Wonder Woman 3 then went away, Lucasfilm and I were like, oh well, we've got to finish this deal. We finished the deal right as the strike was beginning. So now I owe a draft of Star Wars, and so we'll see what happens there. They have a hard job in front of them of what's the first movie they're going to do. They have other directors who have been working, but I am back doing Rogue Squadron. There it is, boys and girls, from the horse's mouth herself. Star Wars is saved. She is going to be back on Rogue Squadron. It's going to blow the fans out of the sky, out of the water. Everybody's going to love it. Everybody's going to go, you know what? For all the things all the mistakes you've made in the past, we're going to forgive you. This is great. This is why. I'm sorry, I can't even keep on with that tirade. It's complete and total nonsense. It's complete and total. This Rogue Squadron is going to probably be a wham and power forward nonsense hot pile of steaming garbage, and we already know Patty Jenkins can't do anything on her own without other people holding her hand the entire time, especially when it comes to tentpole franchises. Go back to doing movies like Monster. I enjoyed that one, like I said earlier. So further pressed by Makowicz, she says, let's take all the contract stuff and all the other stuff. You'd be happy to do a Star Wars movie. That would be exciting if worked out. Jenkins declared, absolutely, absolutely. Star Wars is beautiful. The emotion of Star Wars and what it stands for is something so beautiful in this world. Star Wars was born out of World War II, right? It's born out of how do you make a metaphor talk in metaphor? Well, World War II and a few other things. That's kind of a general, it's a very normie perspective on it. There's a lot of other influences, the samurai, the Western, a lot of that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, of course, it's a war movie, so there's certain aspects of that kind of thing that's going to be in there, but that is a very normie take on that, and that's probably why she's going to be a disastrous dumpster fire for this. So she goes on and just kind of praises some Star Wars, dog fights, and, the jets in the 70s and the 80s. I mean, at least she likes that kind of stuff, so I don't know, but as of this writing, Jenkins' Rogue Squadron film has yet to receive any official production confirmation as a release date from Disney or Lucasfilm. And this is this Patty Jenkins video of the Rebel pilot thing when they first initially announced that back in 2022, 2 years ago, and nothing has happened on this. So yeah, boys and girls, Star Wars is not saved. Star Wars will not be saved until Disney either gets a completely and total leadership change, or at the one beautiful thing that we can probably hope for the most, that Disney becomes so bankrupt because of all of the disastrous dumpster fires that they have got going on out there, and that they continue to put out, and all the billions of dollars they're spending that is literally going up in flames. At some point, the rubber hits the road. And that's what we've seen with the Nelson Peltz, Ike Perlmutter, and, all of the rest of that, the board fight that we've got coming up in April. And that's going to be very interesting to see how things go. But that's only 2 seats on the board of an otherwise completely and totally down with the agenda, just yes men to Bob Iger and whatever he wants going forward. So whether or not that's actually going to change anything, I have no idea. But I really don't have a lot of hope for any of this kind of stuff. And I sure as hell don't have any hope for Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron. That's going to be a hot pile of steaming garbage if, and that's a big if it ever actually happens. But boys and girls, watch the freaks and all the crazy people out there go, Star Wars is saved! But we all know at the end of the day, Star Wars is dead. And Disney Lucasfilm, along with Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger, are solely responsible for putting it in the ground.